There is just one day to go until the Great British Braai-Off 2020. We'll be firing up the Braai, we'll be opening great bottles of South African wine, but if you can't wait until tomorrow to celebrate South African wines and open one of those favourite bottles, then you do have Wines of South Africa's spectacular South Africa campaign, which has a big global tasting happening tonight. All around the world, people will be opening up bottles of their favourite South African wines and sharing it with the rest of the world and celebrating the great wines that that country produces. One of the wines that we'll be opening this weekend, and I want to tell you a little bit more about it, is called Kreatuur, Kreatuur in Afrikaans, and it's made by a great producer called the Kleine Wijn Koöp. It was set up a few years ago, not too long before this. This is one of the first wines they made, and set up by a bunch of mates. Quite a serendipitous origin story to it, which I won't go into the full details of, but they all got together just to make one-off parcels of wines with cool labels. And they sold them through an Instagram profile, and they sold out like that. Very, very simple. It was label designers from an agency that used to be called Fanakulu, winemakers, videographers, they shot cool videos. It was just a load of fun. And it was for a few years, and it's now run by a brilliant winemaker called Wijn, who used to be a winemaker at a place called Rickety Bridge in Franschhoek, and he has taken over the Kleine Wijn Koöp and taken it on to new levels. Still makes the Kreatuur, and it's part of this range of Kreatuur wines, which are always blends, and they always feature different animals, like made up animals. Each grape is given an animal, so Grenache, Cinsault, and Syrah. This is the Grenache. The Grenache is the ostrich, the Cinsault is this fish, and then the Syrah you've got here is a leopard at the end. The combination of Grenache, Syrah, Cinsault is quite a classic sort of Rhone style blend, and the Grenache here, 90% of this blend comes from a place called Piekenierskloof, which is a bit north in the Western Cape, north of the Swartland, quite a remote high altitude area, and it's famed for its Grenache. In fact, it's thought by some people to grow perhaps best Grenache in the Western Cape, but there's very little of it. So the Kleine Wijn Koöp also make another wine which is 100% Grenache called Tande, which means hen's teeth. It's as rare as hen's teeth. But back to Kreatuur, it's a lovely light wine because it's quite light. It's got body to it, but it's definitely a light, easy drinking sort of wine. And there's two big things about the Kleine Wijn Koöp that I love, which is their integrity. Runs straight through two of them, which is they only make wines they like to drink. They've always stuck to that. They're not trying to make anything too serious, nothing too structured. There's no new oak thrown at anything. There's not loads of extraction. It's just juicy, lovely wines that they like to drink, and unashamedly so. So I love how they stick to that ethos. But they're also a bunch of guys for whom Afrikaans is their first language. They live and breathe it, and most of the South African wine industry is Afrikaans speaking, both from the farming point of view and the winemaking point of view in the Western Cape, where the majority language is Afrikaans. However, it's mostly communicated through the medium of English, whether it's internally but also on export markets. And I love the way that these guys only have Afrikaans on their labels. In the same way we wouldn't insist, say, a producer from Beaujolais must have a load of English all over their labels. I like the fact that these guys are sticking to who they are and printing in Afrikaans, even if it makes it quite hard to understand some of the back label or to read what it is about. But that's the same with a lot of wines from around Europe. So you have whimsical Afrikaans poetry and stories and things on the back of their labels, and their website's quite fun for checking out with things like that. Stuff like, so, forgive me here, so gehenisig soos die swart kat, as mysterious as the black cat. Now I don't know whether that refers to black cat peanut butter. I don't know, someone will have to say, but that's what it is. And of course you've got the famous now South African phrase, moenie drink en in die pad stap nie, jy kan sterf. Don't drink and walk in the middle of the road, you can get killed. Usually written in English, but here written in Afrikaans. Anyway, it's a lovely, lovely wine. 2014 vintage, you can't get hold of it of course anymore. The 2018 vintage I think is the current release, and hopefully we'll have some of that in the UK for you soon. I can't wait to tuck into this because it's the kind of wine I love to drink, and it will go great with the Braai because it's got lots of flavour, but it's not too heavy, it's not too in your face, and therefore it'll go with a lot of different foods, and if the weather stays warm over the weekend, it'll stay refreshing as well. So that's the Kleine Wijn Koöp Kreatuur 2014, which I will be enjoying this weekend, and I look forward to seeing what you are all going to be enjoying too. So cheers and have a very happy Braai off.